Good evening, Ashley. Good evening, Butterfly. Uh, caller one, fire within. And we have Richie so far within a minute. Okay, I just wanted to touch base on something that has been actually taken the wrong route by a few people, innocently enough. But I put an article in the newsletter about LRAD, or Long Range Acoustic Device. And my interest in the device was that it was controlled by satellite. That was actually my only interest in it. It is also a heterodyned device, though, much the same as Audio Spotlight, much the same as the devices that are used on us. So it became interesting to me, and after researching it for a time, I have found that at this point, it is merely a crowd control item. It can broadcast using heterodyning for several kilometers, I think. I could have that wrong. At least one anyway. So as far as long range communication, it does have it. Uh, it might even be 1 kilometer. I can't really remember at this point. But it's useful to the police, and it replaces Altec Lansing loudspeakers. And to me, at this point in time, it's not the device that's being used on us. So I kind of want to write that right out of the picture. But it is controlled by satellite, and that interests me still. Okay, whose satellite? Which satellite is controlling it? And my interest in this area was to associate this device and the satellite, possibly to the device or devices that are trying to control us by way of attacks and whatnot. I don't have to explain. But there may be an association there to the location or the owner of the satellite. And we have a very, very important individual's birthday this evening. His actually it's coming up on the 30th of July, and that's Dave Case's birthday. So mark that on your calendars and make sure we all shoot him an email, because he has gained no monetary value at all, and he has shipped CDs all over the world. And he is just a fantastic gentleman. I did try to get an email, and I got Ralph, and he just sent me out actually a brand new CD. But another issue that has actually come up is, and specifically I'm going to zero in on one person who's brought it up and voiced it on this call, but I've received emails from many, and that's losing hair, TIs that are actually losing hair. Now,
Mm.
some of the causes of that can be extreme anxiety, extreme stress, extreme operating at the top of your envelope. But some TIs are losing hair at the rate that Anne is bald, and she has, not completely, but she has a red spot on the top of her head. So she's losing hair at a phenomenal rate. So I was just wondering if there are any among you who have either seen this or who are actually going through it? Okay,
I'm
I
familiar
have for
with that
sure, Frank,
issue.
from New York.
Oh,
go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's Mikhail. Uh, yeah, definitely. I noticed that in the beginning. I didn't know if it was actually from being targeted. One thing I noticed is when I could feel like my frontal lobe, part of my brain, and I have to like keep combing my hair because they keep hitting that spot. And a lot of times when I wake up, I do notice hair being lost.
Okay, yeah, I've also noticed in myself hair going from like brown to white in spots, and after a period of time when things calm down a little bit, you'll notice your colors coming back to your hair. Well, this is something that has been seen in only one place that I know of, and that is the area in which two individuals are sent down half a mile to a bunker with a set of keys, and they have the keys to the ICBMs. Now, when, of course, they're no longer used, but these two gentlemen were responsible for launching ICBMs for the United States, along with many others. And one of their, uh, I certainly wouldn't call it an attribute, but one of the pitfalls of being a key turner was your hair turning prematurely white. The only thing that the article did not state was, in their case, if it ever went back. And this is prematurely white at a very young age, obviously.
hmm.
And just a little recap here for those of you who just came. Uh, Laura, CPAL, Ashley, and Butterfly, and the callers that have joined us. Uh, I did research to a degree the LRAD, or Long Range Acoustic Device, and the only interest that I see in it is that it's controlled by satellite. Other than that, there's really nothing spectacular about it. It uses heterodyning in the same way that our attackers use heterodyning, and in the same way Audio Spotlight uses heterodyning. Audio Spotlight is actually much closer in terms of what it actually does than LRAD. Now, what we haven't researched at this point, and we should actually do that, is the Audio Spotlight's inventor, Dr. Pompey, and his involvement with the military. Now, Audio Spotlight does have a military attribute to it. So that's something that has to be researched, because the commercial version is so good that you can put a voice on somebody's shoulder at like 60 yards. And we did demonstrate that at the New England gathering, and I did arrive there at 8 a.m., I believe, 8:30 a.m. And we did not get a chance to demonstrate it until, unfortunately, 2:30. So from 2:30 until 3, when we had to be out of there, we had a lot of fun demonstrating it outside. It's actually a fantastic device. It's used in a lot of commercial areas at this point. And I've just gone over targets losing hair, and I hope Ann from New York can be with us tonight, because She has been victimized by local government. She has been victimized by the court system. She has been victimized by her own landlord, who was a close friend. And she has been to a secret airbase that was supposedly closed down in Puerto Rico. And from that point, she was targeted. So that's associative, and it's something that we can correlate to her targeting, possibly. But it seems like everyone who is targeted is on some kind of list. Always involved with government. Always involved with skating around the edges, we'll say, of government. Having family members working for government. So Richie Peel is in the chat, and he claims that he is probably gang stalked, and the LRAD system is used. So I believe that in hearing that, the LRAD system must be altered in some respects to be able to do this, and I'm sure that's very simple. It boasts, I believe, what are the parameters? I think 15 degrees, and then 30 degrees, and up to 365 degrees in terms of its effectiveness. And it uses an omnidirectional system, which is interesting to me. Omni means all around, so that is possibly the 360 degree unit. But at this point, I had written it off. And hold on one moment. Okay, we're getting from the chat from Richie that there's like something happening in the UK. There is mass hypno or something going on because there are actually too many involved at this point. Richie, are those people actually sharing experiences? Is this mass hypnosis or?
Yeah, what's the source on that?
Yeah, that would be Richie Peel from UK.
So where's he getting that from?
He's getting it from personal experience, people in his locale, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
He says, not just that, though. It seems like everyone knows something weird has happened here. Mass hypno or something. Too many involved. So he hasn't spoken of it yet, but I'm sure he will.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank once again Beverly, who is possibly in the audience, for her kind donation of $50 towards the effort. And I will announce anytime we get a donation, I will announce it. And I have mentioned Ashley already has made a donation, I believe, of 20 plus. So at this point in time, I need to get some more information from Richie on LRAD, because there are a number of people in my email group. Eleanor White is shooting it. I'm not saying she's shooting it down, but she is questioning it.
Hey, Frank.
Yes,
Am I loud?
you're in there. 5 by
I'm too
5.
loud.
No, you're great.
Okay. Did you read? You've probably already seen it before, but that Army document that I sent, I think I sent it yesterday or the day before.
Yeah,
It's about the Gateway project,
right.
and I thought that it was interesting how hypnosis. It was talking about it was giving the science behind. Whose TV is that? I can't even think what that.
Let me see if I can grab them. If anybody has a TV in the audience, would you please either mute the TV or yourself if you'd like to speak? This is open forum here. You can. Thank you. I guess that was
Yeah.
call one.
I'm sorry, y'all. I have a hard time concentrating anyway. It was talking about the science, the reason that hypnosis works, and also transcendental meditation. It was giving the science behind that, and I found it very interesting that, that a part of some of our targeting is basically using the same principles of going around the left brain, or getting the left brain to agree to something so that they can. Just like hypnotic suggestion. So it's weird that I've been reading that for the last 2 days, and then now he's saying that it's like a mass hypnosis there, and I definitely believe that's possible. I was looking not too long ago at one of the tests of the emergency broadcasting system here in the United States, and that they had reported back which ones didn't do sound with the picture, which ones did the sound, but nope. I mean, with or without the picture, how loud the sound was. And it was like they were awfully worried about the sound being played at full blast on this emergency. This is just a test of the emergency broadcast system. It makes me feel like, and they're using tritones with that. It makes me feel like that they have something exactly like what he's talking about on the agenda for us, or they wouldn't be so particularly worried about, because they're not worried about saving our lives. I mean, in the case of a storm, they're not worried about saving our lives. I'm sorry, but we are already aware of that. So it's got to be for some purpose, like Richie's saying, like, about a mass hypnosis. I think it's very possible. People are so stuck in their devices and just unaware in general of the shit that's going on around them. Like, it would not be hard to do.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I am familiar with hypnosis only from what I have read concerning MK Ultra, and the MK Ultra project uses hypnosis. It's what it's based on. It's just a delivery system that we don't have enough on yet, but we're closing in on it.
But the beginning of that Army document, it said that normally our left brain is what modulates, the things that go into our right brain. And so the right brain accepts everything that the left brain tells it without questioning. That's why you can hypnotize somebody to put their shoes on the wrong feet, or for their leg to be numb, or
Are you
whatever.
sure? Are you sure about that?
I
The
thought
right
so.
and left brain?
This is what the Army document that I've been reading for the last 2 days says. I'm not sure. I'll be glad to email it to you if you want to read. Or are you in the chat? I can put a link to it.
Not yet, but I might be. But
Okay, well,
I don't know whether I would definitely believe that. I would
Well,
want to do
it
some
made sense
research.
to me. It made sense to me scientifically. First of all, the Army documents are usually extremely lengthy, and sometimes just a lot of filler. And I mean, it is sound science and reasoning behind the reasons explained. That's why hypnotic suggestion works, is that the right brain accepts whatever the left brain is logical and spatial, and the right brain is more holistic. But the thing is that the left brain controls what content the right brain is allowed. And
Well,
so if you bypass,
if I may say, I've read that as far as people being left brain and right brain, and in general, that it's about a 60-40 relationship, and if one is left-handed or right-handed, it doesn't mean that they are, let me see if I get it right. left brain. I mean, there's more interaction than was
Right, but
previously
even if
thought.
people are left brain and right brain, you're right. The document I'm reading is from 1983. I'll agree with that 100%. But this was not talking about whether people are left and right brain. It's saying that basically the functions amongst all human beings are in basically they're this, it's the same as far as which part of everyone's brain processes, memory, and which part of everyone's brain processes speech. It's the same from left and right brain people as far as what are the functioning parts of your brain do.
Yeah, maybe they were trying to get money for a project.
No. This was a commander that you should read this. You should. I can email it to you, or Frank's probably bogged down with all kind of other stuff, but I'll be glad to get it to you somehow if you want to. If you want to read it, and it is from '83, but I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
It's about the Gateway Project.
Mm-hmm.
You know what happened? I got a phone call right when I was trying to read that document. And I get totally inundated with phone calls, which is good. And I take as many as I can. I'm going to have to go back and read through that Gateway Project because the bits and pieces are falling in place.
Well, I'm rereading it for like the fourth time. I'm going back through and I'm also writing down keywords to go back and search these people and these institutes. And I've really found it enlightening as far as I totally get the what they're saying about how the vibration, everything is vibration. I mean, really, there is no such thing as solid matter, and that's correct.
Okay, that's Dave Case's CD. I know that part. That's my favorite part. I've got his new CD on the way. I can't wait to get it. But yeah, that sounds very interesting. It's an interesting name for it as well, Gateway Project.
Is that what connects New Jersey and New York? What they're trying to do?
I can't respond.
The Gateway Project was something that was going on like in 1983, but I suspect that it's in part the way that they hook up to TI's brains is part of the science and part of the program where they were learning to hook up to people's brains. But I'm going to put it in the chat. I don't know if you're in the chat, but I'm looking for it now, and I'm going to put it in the chat. If you're not in the chat, I can email it to the gentleman too. It doesn't matter.
Well, thanks. I just wanted to say, Frank, do you have a birthday coming up?
A group meeting coming up?
A birthday.
A birthday coming up?
Yes.
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Yes, I thought so.
Frank, when is your birthday?
September the 4th.
Oh, September the 4th.
Yeah.
Well, logically, he does have one coming up. It's not for a while.
Yeah,
Mine's the 23rd of this month, and then Dave Case's is like the 30th, isn't it?
Yeah, I just announced that. As a matter of fact, that we should mark that on the calendar. And I don't know. Yeah, I think you were here, Ashley. We were talking about TIs losing hair, especially females.
Yeah, definitely count me in. I've been that wagon since I knew that I would be targeted. I mean, I just losing it in gobs. I have to clean the shower drain out every time I shower. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
and we're still, I just wanted to bring up, we're still doing a TI survey, and we're still going to do the same one. Max has got his selected group, apparently.
Right. I think that ended up being something different anyway than what I thought. Than what I was. Yeah. So just whenever you get ready for me to send that stuff out.
Yep. We need 20 people. I think we have like 5. And you should read some of the things that Richie is putting in the chat. You probably are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm hearing
I'm sorry.
more and more about satanic stuff mixing in with this. I don't know whether that's trying to scare targets or whether it's trying to possibly indoctrinate targets. I'm not sure about that. We had some good news today. I'm not going to say the person's name because they're extremely secretive, but this person sent a letter to the Department of Energy stating what was going on. And at the end, she received a letter back stating that this sounds like something that should fall into the hands of the CIA. And they did forward it to the CIA. So,
very good.
yes,
Very good.
definitely very good. And I also wanted to say that we're doing a full page spread for the Tiffany Jenks murder. And I don't know if you recall, she is a target who was murdered by a rifle, a gunshot. She controlled 23 dams in the United States. So 23 of our dams were at her disposal, her control. And
she was the one. Yeah. That's
so we're going to do a spread for her, and she was tragically murdered. And we did have John Captain on here probably 6 months ago now as a guest, and he regaled us with the entire gruesome scenario that led up to it. And she was truly gunned down mercilessly. And she knew that it was going to happen because she told John, she said, we're going to be killed today. And she was, and for some reason John wasn't. And in the news today, or actually not today, but we had one of our own main TIs. His name is Dave John Burby. The police tried to pick him up, and he basically walked outside where he lives, and he was apparently walking to his vehicle, and he said, point blank, I want to cooperate with you guys, but I won't comment without my attorney present. And at this point, the police officers couldn't get any footing, and there was no arguable response. So they have eventually went on their way. But that's an example of how to handle law enforcement when they in fact are on your case. So always remember that. I want to cooperate with you guys, but I won't comment without my attorney present. And that might shoo them on their way, as it did with David. So hats off to David John Burby.
Yeah.
So the TI survey was originally written by Max Harrison Williams. And it's very simple, but very complicated at the same time. But I took it a couple years ago, and I did get the results back, and it shed light on similarities, obviously, and differences between TIs. And I think we had like almost 20 TIs and 100 questions. And there's roughly a week or two in between until everybody gets their survey copy back. So it's a really good survey. It's not involved. It'll take you 5 minutes to fill it out.
It's not closed yet?
No, it's
still
not
open?
closed. It's not open yet, and we have to have we have to have 20 people in order to initiate it. And then,
Well, I would be willing to do it.
okay, L,
I am willing. Hmm.
just go to our site, contact information, and just in the explanation box, put survey. That's all you have to
Okay.
do. You don't even have to
All
put,
right.
I'm interested in the survey. Just put survey in there. And we have,
Okay.
we already have a few other people that are interested.
Okay, Frank.
All right. And it's pointed at people who have V2K. So keep that in mind before you volunteer, because if you have gang stalking issues, it would not apply. But if you have subliminals that you can read, or subliminals that you know are there, take the test, because it's actually the same thing. Now, a subliminal I feel and see if I choose to. V2K is just 24/7, I'm hearing it. But what they do is they take the V2K and they turn it down and turn it down and turn it down and just about disappear. But I can still hear them, and I never really identified so clearly how I see a thought, or because I can feel their thoughts because they're not mine. And it's almost like your own thoughts have a serial number on them. But that's how they do it as far as subliminals. They just keep turning it down until they're on the mic that goes to your cochlea. So they're actually using two microphones. They're using one for the V2K and one for the subliminals. So they can modulate each one. They have in the past they've equalized the modulation for subliminals and for audible V2K. And that
I
actually,
certainly wish we could block their access. I know it's a very basic statement, but easier thought than done.
I'm working on a couple things on paper that I think are going to help.
Mm.
If not,
Okay.
but I'm not going to make any claims until I'm done, and I'm not going to sell it on eBay until it's done, and I'm not going to send it out for lease until it's done. And at that point in time, whatever it costs me is what it'll cost you. And if there's some people out there that want to help, that's great too. But I won't do anything, or you won't hear about it until I'm done with it.
Mm. I was thinking about trying Robert Duncan's his blocker there, but they were bidding on eBay, and the prices, the bids were up, like quite high, so I dropped out.
Well, see, that's unfair. That's totally unfair.
Mm.
And my reasoning on that is he should offer that to the TI community at his cost. And if he's got some electronic components inside, they don't cost much, believe me.
Yeah, I think he does have a cost that he establishes, but then once he puts it on eBay, he does allow the bidding. If he were to sell it outside of eBay, like through his organization there, whatever that is, then yeah, then he could do that.
He could be helping the community in another way. If it goes out into the community, it will be taken apart and copied. and hopefully that's what happens. Because I'd like to see it copied and I'd like to see it distributed to everyone. And I think somebody like Dave Case, if Dave Case got a hold of it, I'm sure it wouldn't be coming out to us for nothing. But if you could see, I mean, you can buy a certain capacitor for like 79 cents. You can buy a small circuit board, depending upon what it is, for $10. So the idea that this is all culminating in a price of starting price of like $600 or something like that is, unless he's using gold in there. No, I'm serious. They use gold frequently in some boards and applications. So that might be the case. But you have to be able to actually see it and see what happens. That would be the one that he should have leased out. And you have to look at it a little bit from his point of view. He doesn't know many TIs to the point where he'd loan him $200 or whatever it is for his first device. So you kind of have to agree with him a little bit there.
Yeah. I do, but I see your point in that making a profit from it is.
Making a profit is one thing.
I think, if he wants to have eBay be the distributor, and it takes too much time to handle it himself, I can see that, but I would think there might be a better way somewhere in between there. But that would be good if it could be, as you said, engineered and duplicated, replicated, and distributed. Yeah.
What's the matter?
Yeah, Richard Peel is also a friend of his.
Right over here?
And I guess they email back and forth on a regular basis. And he definitely recommends Soul Catcher Volume 2.
No. The towel?
Okay, and let me see. And if there are targets that want to donate, we have a Northeast Billboard fundraiser. Now, if you're from the Northeast, or anywhere for that matter.
What? Tell me what happened.
Well, Ella Free and Dr. Matthew Aaron's billboard, we're going to distribute across the country, and we need money to do it. So,
no. What am I going to say?
I've got some crosstalk here.
Frank, can I just ask you, if you have a light on in the room and it doesn't have really good shade over it, can that affect their ability to precision hit you?
No.
Or no?
No, I wouldn't say so at all.
You remember
What?
Do you remember on Halloween when they had you go in house to house?
Okay, caller 8, when you finish your conversation, just hit *6 and you can open your mic again. Oh, where was I? Oh, God, knocked right out of my head. Elle, could you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes, I just wondered if having a light on in the room can affect their ability to precision hit you, depending upon,
The answer to that, from my own personal experience, because I have not gotten any kind of feedback on a light except from one person. But psychologically, you will feel cooler, and depending upon how you were brought up, you will feel safer because you are in the darkness. So you'll feel safer. Psychologically, it's a better situation.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Frank.
Okay, I'm looking for noise. Okay, apparently I found it. So caller 3, caller 8, as soon as you decide you want to speak, hit *6 and unmute yourselves, and you'll be able to talk once again. Okay, we had an experience last Friday evening, and I don't know if there's anybody on the call that was there, but we had somebody from Linda Costanzo's call. Actually, it was a three-way line, I think. They had Linda's call, they had our call, and they put them together. And it's the second time it's happened. It's nothing to do with Linda, but it's very aggravating to us to have. I think the theme song from Talk Shoe played. Does anybody remember that? Ashley? Elle?
I remember it, Frank. Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah. So,
Frank,
yes.
it was from the people here. I had listened to your call, then it was late, and I said, "Oh, Linda's on. Let me go and see what Linda's talking about." I got on Linda's, so Linda's call was on for a little while. Then I didn't want to be on hers no more. I hung up and I got on you back on your call. The perps merged these two calls together.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I went over to Linda's call and I wrote Linda a note, and I was terribly upset about it because I'm tired of people streaming this call. It's happened on several occasions. They've streamed it live to another location to either record or whatever. No one in the audience, or except for myself, is allowed to record this call simply because. Okay, hold on. Okay, caller 5, you have some noise in the background. Okay, so where was I? So it wasn't the fault of Linda, but somebody opened a line to her call and to this call. And that's easily done with an Apple product. I'm not sure if, Androids even do that, but I've never owned one, so I don't know. So it caused some rough feelings between Linda and myself because, if something like that happens, I just fly apart because I can't. It's not that I lose control. It's just that I focus myself immediately on the problem. And if I hear Linda's voice, okay, Linda's the problem. But that wasn't the case. It's somebody who owns a business, from what I understand. Okay, and let me see where we are here. To get back to the Billboard fundraiser and targets wanting to join STARS, I've had a lot of people call, text, and email wanting to learn how to join STARS. Well, on the home page, you'll see a PayPal button. It says join/donate. Now, if you want to join, in the paperwork that you run in, thank you. Caller 10, when you get your audio situation squared away, you can hit *6 and speak. So now where was I? Okay, so you can hit join or donate. And if you are donating, especially in this case, if you're donating to STARS, just write STARS in the explanation. There are plenty of spots in the PayPal document to do it. And if you're going to donate to the Billboard Project, just write Billboard Project, and so on. It's very easy. I've gotten so many emails on how to do it. It's PayPal. It's very easy. And if you don't want to use PayPal, PayPal will allow you, I believe, to switch to an alternate card. So that's that. And in Philadelphia, we picked this up because it's, in fact, on the East Coast. There's a Philadelphia support group meeting Sunday, July 29th, and you want to contact Margaret. And her email I will put in the chat. Do we have any Philly people on here?
I want to go to Philly.
Okay, that sounded like Laura. Okay, I cannot paste from Microsoft, this particular application of Microsoft, to this chat for some reason. I don't know why. I've tried. But anyway, it's on July 29th. That's a Sunday. You want to contact Margaret. And I will spell this for you. It's Captain, CAPTAIN, CDZ at AOL.com.
Frank, can you please repeat that?
Sure, no problem. Her name is Margaret, and the email address is Captain, as it's spelled, CAPTAIN, CDZ at AOL.com.
Got it. Thank you.
Certainly. And we have a lot of Philly people that are trying to get together. This is the spot. So, and I don't know how many of you got our newsletter.
Well, personally, I don't, and I'd like to receive it. I need more information. I'm glad. This is Dr. R. I'm glad that you sent me out information that you guys would be on, and thanking me for coming back. Yeah, it's been I'm sure you guys know a journey, but I appreciate you guys. I miss you, and yeah, I'm kind of like in the mustard trying to play catch up now. So I'm gonna need that newsletter and some other information.
Okay, that's not a problem. Just email me at Frank at Targeted Massachusetts. TARGETED MASSACHUSETTS.org.
Okay.
And once I get that email, you'll automatically be put on the list. The alternate method is
Okay.
to go to the site, targetedmassachusetts.org, go to the contact page, and just fill in your information. If you do that, you will get texts, emails, the newsletter. You will get everything. And the more the merrier. We like to have a good crowd so I can spend 4 hours texting. I can't use automated texting because it's not personal. So it's but it's great. I will make you aware of current events, things going on in the community that you may want to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I so appreciate that. I wanted to ask you, Frank, for now, can I do the things that you just told me to do? You gave me Shank at Targeted Massachusetts .org, right?
Yeah.
And so, can I do all of this like on my cell phone? Because I've been getting like from the inception, and this has been way before I got in touch with found out about Renata's call and you and everybody. This has like been going on for 10 years, and I knew something was wrong, but and I was connecting the dots, and of course nobody in my family believed me. I did some things that I should not have done had I, but I'm glad in retrospect I did it. People breaking into my home and things like that, and of course it just got crazy, but nevertheless, it's been recorded, and so for them to say the things that they said, even so far as to tell, my grown daughter, oh, your mom is being looked at, as a psychiatric patient, and I hold my doctorate in theology and my undermajor in law. So not trying to, and to that extent, I have bragging rights. Like these people. No, nothing
I am
about
so
me.
glad. This is E. I'm so glad you're on the call. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was like so hard for me to convince my family, and everybody's like, mom doesn't know how to use her phone. My sisters, I have 6 sisters. Here she is talking about her phone again and her computer. Is being compromised. I kept trying. I knew something, was wrong. I just knew something was up, and so I went, of course, to the search engine. I tried to, find something there. I even went so far as to, subscribe to the Washington Post, to see if, I could get information there. They sent back like a $200+ check, and would not, send me, the paper, at all. And I just happened, and it's this one, and so I they every time I kept, getting close to you guys, the screen would come, it would snatch down the screen, and a message would come up and say, "Oh, sorry, unable to reach this, access this website at this time." And that went on for really 3-4 years until I just I came off the grid. Things continued to happen, burglarizations, to my car, to my home, a lot of other things. And, I was on my cell phone one day, and I think I might have been looking for a targeted store, where my daughter was going. I wanted to know if there was a Target store out that way. And I just so happened to put that in, and what came up was targeted individuals. And when I read it, I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I knew you guys were there. And I instantly called her, It was on a Sunday, and she let me out of the floor, and I mean, of course, like I am now, I just poured out my heart. I'm like, are you guys really? Are you real? I mean, like, I don't know anything about perps or anything at that point. I'm like, are you guys really real? I mean, everything that I said resonated with everyone on the phone. They had gone through everything that I had been experiencing for all these years, and I had no one to go to. I had doctors, all of my doctors, people who I had been with for over a quarter of a century, telling me, you need to see a psychiatrist. Excuse me, I recognize your letters, and I think you should recognize mine too. You know what? That's what I do for a living. I counsel people. So no, we're not going to go there. Okay, we're not going to go there. I'm very clear in what I said. I'm taking my notes. I'm doing what I need to do, and I listed, and got in touch with the necessary authorities. And like I said, they really came at me hard, and had one doctor come in, and a psychiatrist came in. I was suffering from congestive heart failure, and he sits in my room for like 15 minutes, and he says to me, he wants me to take this medicine, and I have to stick myself in the finger, like every day. I'm like, no, sir, no, respectfully, no, I'm not taking any more medication at all. I'm basically, holistic as is, but, when I need to, I'll do what I have to, because, there's no place I can go where God is not, because He's everywhere. And so this guy literally writes down, she's paranoid. She's, and I got the notes, from my primary care. Oh, I see that you saw a psychiatrist. Oh, and I said, can I see that? And she said, oh, she's paranoid. She says that she talks to God, and God speaks back to her. Duh. I'm a minister of the gospel. Excuse me, I have a real prayer life. You know what? I'm only 57 years old, clothed in my right state of mind, and that is defamation of character. You just, so like he's on the list as well. I mean, like, moving fast forward, guys. This stuff has been going on for so long, and finally my family is, catching on. It's been over 10 years. I mean, they even staged a car accident and threatened me severely. Like 5 people, their lawyers saying that they were going to sue me and all this and all that. And now I'm coming home from church on a Wednesday night. And I've traveled this route literally like for over 15 years. Now, the way that I had to come, if there was something wrong, I was a high-end car, BMW, brand new, and like, wait a minute, if there was something wrong with the car, the minute that you start the car, when you take it out of park, it automatically locks the doors. So I get all the way across town, like about 10, minutes from my home, and I stop the car in front, in back of this bus, and literally stopped, and the car just lunges forward and hits the back of this bus. And I don't know, like how this guy got the doors open, because they were locked. He took, I had hit, had my seatbelt on, my head hit the windshield. There's blood everywhere. He takes me, he lays me on the ground, and, I just remember this really nasty smelling gray sweatshirt he put, under my head. And there were like all these people that got off the bus, and there was this police officer who came up, guys, and he said to the entire crowd, I know who she is. I know who she is. She was in a car accident on Lincoln Drive a week ago, and she's not on her medication. She takes Depakote. I have never in my life taken Depakote at all. I mean, and then you know what? They have me walk over and get into all these ambulances, and he says, yeah. He says to the EMT, well, she must have been trying to overtake the bus. And that's the report he's given. And he gets in, into the ambulance, and he forces me. I mean, under coercion, he forces me to sign away, the rights to my car. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I have my son. He's 37. Come down here. My husband, he's a locomotive engineer. Huge on the line. Like, no. My wife, no, she's not. I'm not going to do that at all. I have a nephew who's a tow driver and has his own tow truck. No. He said, well, we're not taking her to the hospital unless she signs this paper. They forced me. They took my blood at the scene. They took it when I got there. I woke up. I'm going in and out of consciousness. Blood everywhere, glass in my eyes. And I wake up and I'm in a body cast. And I could just barely see, the same police officer. He came in, put on gloves, and he picked up a board, and he had a pen in his hand and paper, and he proceeded to come towards me. And I said, oh, so you were the first responder? He said, yes, I was. I said, oh, okay. And I understand that you said that the car is, totally, ruined. It's beyond repair. He's like, that is correct. I said, oh, okay. Because I heard you say that to the EMT driver. I said, well, you know what? I said, now you said the whole front of the car is totally damaged. It's a wreck. He said, exactly. I said, and so that's what you're going to put on the report, correct? That is correct. I said, you know what? Well, how about this? I said, you know what? I heard you tell them that I was trying to overtake the bus. If, in fact, that's what you're going to put on your report, then the only part of my vehicle that should be damaged should be, the passenger side. Because if I'm trying to overtake the bus, then I didn't connect with anything. I just, the whole front end should not be like you said it is. You know what, guys? This man got so spooked. He snatched those gloves off. He threw everything down and walked out. He walked out. I mean, it was clearly a setup, but I didn't know what was happening at the time. Moving fast forward, on July the 7th, I live in Philadelphia, in a very prominent area. My home is purchased. It's been paid for since 2006. I have my deed. I have my satisfaction piece. I have everything. It's an inheritance from my parents. They, you know what? They illegally evict me from my property. Illegally. I went back. They refused to take my paperwork. They refused to let me go in, and so I know my rights, all that they violated, and not allowing me to, I even went to the judge and I served her, and I told her, like, respectfully, ma'am, you don't, Judge, Abby F. Letman, doing business as the Honorable Abby F. Letman. You don't want this in the courtroom. You really don't. Because it's going to give rise to the fact that all these unsecured back mortgages. You don't want, basically you really don't want it with me. You really don't. You know what? There are so many crooked and corrupt people that are here. You guys know where you live, and all of that. And now the family is finally connecting the dots and seeing where, well, everything that Mom was saying was right. You know, and I'm just like so grateful that I have an extended family that only knows my voice, but that loves me and understands me, and I'm grateful. I am one, grateful child of God. I really am. I
Well,
thank you all. I
thank
certainly.
you. I am, and I think we are so grateful to have you. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to once again bring up an individual. We got some noise here. I'm gonna have to find, I guess. Okay. Once again, we had somebody, a brave TI, write to the Department of Energy. She described everything that was going on. And I'm going to take apart, with her permission, what she sent and make it available to everyone. But she got a response from the Department of Energy, and they said, this is really not our cup of tea, so to speak, but they said, we are going to pass this along to the CIA. So that is a very interesting statement by the Department of Energy. That's telling us that, okay, the CIA is being alerted of this crime. So maybe the CIA is the group that we should be sending things to instead of dealing with local.
The FBI.
We've dealt with, we're dealing with the FBI all the time. The CIA we haven't really dealt with yet. It's very interesting. They might be willing to do something. It will be interesting to see what this woman gets back from the CIA, if anything.
What is he going to talk about or give?
Well, she wrote a letter originally to the Department of Energy, and it was referred to the CIA. So, if it was...
And what was it saying? Like the electronic attacks?
Yes, that's what I'm going to make available with her permission. I'm going to take it apart so it doesn't resemble anything that she sent, and possibly make a template for you, or just a good read for you to read over, and so that you'll be able to duplicate what she did and maybe send it directly to the CIA. Now, no one
That would be great.
has actually done anything with the CIA, to my knowledge. Everything has been FBI and state police and local police. We haven't touched on the CIA yet. So, that's...
Do they know about this, though?
Oh,
Isn't
yes.
the CIA? Yeah.
They know about
Okay.
it. And
I thought so.
the extent, I'm not sure, but the NSA is still another group. Of course, naturally, they're the largest. They're bigger than all the other ones put together. But it's not clear to me what they actually do. It really isn't, But these fusion centers have been brought to my attention more frequently all the time. Now, it would be interesting for a group of us to perhaps in each state enter the fusion center and just point blank ask them, what do you guys do here? And
That would be really interesting, Frank. Wow.
We pay.
Yeah.
We pay.
Fusion-
Like
What's
a,
the fusion?
a group
What's the
tour.
fusion center?
Yes.
I know this is a stupid question, but what's the fusion center?
Excuse me. Yeah.
What is a fusion center?
Exactly. Just looking at the word itself, fusion. So it is going to put. Hold on a second. I've got somebody in the back. Okay.
Is there such thing? I mean, sorry.
Okay. Whoever has radio or TV in the background, I would appreciate it if you would turn it down or mute yourself. Thank you. So, fusion, obviously in the name, it combines. Elle, it's you.
Oh yeah, with the TV. Yeah, it got louder.
Yeah.
Let me. I don't know what happened. Let me take care of that.
Okay, thanks, Elle. You know, Elle's thinking about moving to Massachusetts. Sometimes in targeting, a move is a good thing. And it's not going to stop anything by any means, but it may make you feel a lot better. New surroundings, new apartment. That's still really loud, Elle. So it's not.
Sorry, Frank.
That's okay, not a problem. Yeah, I was talking about you moving to possibly Massachusetts.
Yes, yes,
So that's a good
yes.
idea.
I'd like to find. I would like to find a housemate actually. If maybe try it out for a few months and someone to live with. In a rational manner, and support one another, and have a good environment in which to live. And I'm open to that. On the East Coast, not too far south, probably, but somewhere in the Northeast. So, yeah, I could announce that here. Yes. So I did write something to Frank. Yes, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you.
When were you planning on coming?
Is that? Well, I'm in a living situation now, and I think it's just become too predictable, and I do have some commitment, but I think there would be an understanding of my need to move on. So, could be within a few weeks to maybe 6 to 8 weeks, thereabouts. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, I don't know. I know Frank has a lot to do, but we'll figure out something. We'll figure out something that would be workable in terms of sharing information.
I have Frank's number.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Good.
I I had a question. Earlier, and we didn't follow through with it. I heard you, Frank, say that you really weren't clear with what the NSA does, or what their function is, right? Are you familiar with Homeland Security and what they do? Anybody?
Homeland Security, they
Oh.
use a lot of excuses of Homeland Security to invade your privacy. You can call it Homeland Security, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But to the masses, they're made to believe that, they're there to protect us from, foreign invasion, when in fact it's just the opposite way. It's there, to, steal away our privileges and spy out our liberties and the fusion centers as well, in terms of, the collecting of that information and, putting all this, together. Yeah, they definitely have an end game, but I firmly, and I'm sure you guys know, that, what's being done here and what is destined to be, their plans are short.
Oh, I sent him $48 online.
Okay. Their plans are short. Because
Okay, I have something to interject and something to ask at the same time. Richie Peel from the chat has a two-tone process, which he says helps. My question is, was that an octave? We'll say a C sharp to a high C sharp. What's the difference between the two tones? He'll probably put that in the chat here in a couple minutes. Okay.
Are you talking about the two tones that you hear in your ears?
No, he's talking about going online, and I want you all to Google, write this down.
Hello.
Go ahead, Rich.
All right, I'll just explain. The two-tone shield I invented. It's a temporary measure which actually disables the V2K completely. It does for me anyway. It just consists of a simple app, keyboard, or any sort of instrument that can produce two tones. I use an Android app called Frequency Generator. There's loads of them. Ideally, you need one that can play two tones or octaves, and you need to play one low and one higher, and try and keep away from that one in your head, that tinnitus one, which most people get, which do suffer from V2K. I believe that tinnitus one is to overstimulate your cochlea, so you can hear these you're more susceptible to V2K. But without getting too scientific with it, it's basically to stimulate part of your brain responsible for hearing, but instead of fire all electrical activity in your brain firing to that tinnitus sound, it's firing to that low one, which you're playing loudly in your ear. The higher one's meant just to go through subliminally. I've tried it before and it's worked for me. It's only a temporary measure, but when you do use it, and the first time I used it and then switched it off, I heard the V2K as it actually was. It wasn't actually voices at all. It was more like pulses of noise. which were patterns to it, which you would associate words to. Once you do try the therapy for a few days, the brain's used to hearing the tone all the time, that lower tone, the higher one passing through all the time. You can actually do it like overnight and just fall asleep with it on, and your ears will automatically listen to it. And when I did it overnight, doing it that way, in the morning after switching it off, I got 4 hours apiece before it started creeping back in very slowly. Like, it was quite flawed in the way it came back in. It was like and like that, and then suddenly the words started coming back on it, and then I started associating words to it, and then it came back on. But as I say, it's worth a try. I haven't had anyone come back trying it yet, so it'd be very interesting to find out if it works for other people. I know it's only a temporary measure, but it's worth a go.
Okay.
It's a frequency generator.
There is a tone generator online. All you have to do is Google online tone generator, and it comes up. But I was curious.
Frequency sound generator is the one I use. The frequency sound generator. It's a yellow box with a squiggly line in it, like a frequency line in it. So it's like a yellow box with a squiggly line. It's an Android app, so I'm not too sure what phone you have. And it looks like you can play 3 on it, but you only need 2. So it's like a yellow box with a little squiggle in the middle. Frequency sound generator.
Now,
I'll see if I can get the link to put it on chat.
How many notes apart? Just a low one and a high one, or was it? Did you try Discord?
What's best is if you tune it to something that you feel your hearing is sensitive to. So you just move it up and go, that's a bit low, I can't really hear that really well, so I'll make it a little bit higher. So you try it, and then eventually you'll hit one, like a note, and your ears will be like, I can hear that really well, so I'll keep that one. And then you do the same for the higher one.
Okay.
Hi, hon. You've got a lot of noise happening there. Let me unmute you. You probably squared it away.
That's what I need to say anyway. I'll go.
All right.
Say, Frank, just a question. If you feel like a bump or something, like an extra something around your heart, they may have just hit you in the esophagus, right?
That's
right. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. It certainly is. It took 3 times to the ER before I finally figured it out. They told me, you're not having a heart attack. This is all esophageal.
Wow.
And that was Brockton Hospital in Brockton, Massachusetts. But they were very frank, unlike many other hospitals.
Yeah, that's unusual. Yeah, they were out just to make money or to,
They don't seem to be. They are honestly interested in the patient. At this particular point in time, I don't go there, but they do have some headshots that I need to pick up, about 1,000 of them, 1,000 slices, and it's on CD. So, any kind of test that I get there, I can have on CD and look at each picture. I think you have to download their software, I think, to view the pictures. But you can see every brain slice that they took.
Frank, may I ask, was that an MRI or?
I think that was a CAT scan.
Oh.
Either that or a very special MRI.
Mm-hmm.
But They took slices. Well, that's Dave Case's CD too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I had an inline feed to it, but I I'd need another set of headphones, or I'd need the special mic in, the extra mic in. Yeah.
Okay, Richie has put in the chat a link to that app. Finest Android sound generator. But the link is there.
Okay.
All right. Anybody like to? I'm going to have to leave for about a minute. I'll be right back. And you guys can just chat. Richie, if you want, and anybody else who would like to chat, feel free. I'll only be a couple minutes. Thank you.
Hi guys. I've pretty much read Dr. Duncan's book fully cover to cover. I've got quite a lot of experience in all the tactics, strategies, psychology of the systems in place. I've also begun to capture evidence, audio evidence, which I've got for people to discuss in it when I'm out and about. I recommend you, if you suffer from gang stalking, to buy a very cheap of eBay audio recorder, and slip it in your pocket and press record. It'll only cost you $10 or something like that. There's two reasons for this. One, that the perps, as we like to call them, will know you are recording, so people around you won't start shouting abuse or saying anything or saying something when you go past them. And if they do, then you've got them on tape. So it's a kind of shield in a way, and it's worth it for $10. That's if you get gang stalked at all. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Anyone? Nope.
Where are you from?
I'm from England.
Oh. Were you gang
Where are you
stalked?
from?
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Let's see.
I live here anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty,
For now.
yeah, I'm getting quite heavy over here, and I don't think any of you would have experienced the type of stuff I get. It's basically because I believe I've learned too much about the program and how it works, and I've become a big target for them. So they pretty much have brought everyone around the whole country just so they can gang stalk me, basically, follow me around everywhere.
Would Richie, would you mind repeating the apps, please? Thank you.
I just put a link on the chat.
Oh, okay.
That's the app I use.
Gotcha.
Do you want to know how it works? It's quite easy. You just put a low tone that you're comfortable with, and then you just put a higher one that you're comfortable with, that hearing's tuned to, so you're not gonna like, you can hear it, you know, and you need to turn it like loud and just try and focus your hearing only on the lower one, and try and let that upper one pass through you. Just let it pass through you. Don't try and block it, just let it pass through you, that upper one, because that's for your subliminal type hearing system. So yeah, it's basically, scientifically, it's to do with your audio cortex, and it's basically biohacking your audio cortex. So you're stimulating that part that's responsible for your hearing. So all your neurons will start firing there instead of where they want, and it
Thank you.
kind of like derails the V2K. It's only a temporary measure, but it's worth trying. It works for me, but it's only a temporary measure. Unfortunately, I can't do it anymore because whenever I try and do it, sorry.
Do you experience it
They,
worse when you are inside of your own apartment or flat? Like you
um,
in England?
probably inside my apartment because they've pretty much surrounded the place. I believe that even emptied an old people's home, which faces my back. Because I've never seen any old people in the place before, and I've lived here about a year. So I think they've got someone next door as well because it's just been empty, and even a property owner doesn't leave a property empty. So surrounded basically.
Yeah. And it's hard to move around all the time, isn't it? I find it
Yeah,
exhausting.
I mean, I try and get out, but then, as I say, the guy in charge of orchestrating this gang stalking, he's called the Stage Right. That's a code name for him. He's basically the one involved in the strategy of who's going to be out, what assets they have, what agents they have on the field, who's going to be dressed as what, where we're going to place them. And yeah, I got a lot. A lot.
Yeah. I had the gang stalking for, oh gosh, 4 or 5 years, and it fizzled, but I still have the street theater. And I moved out of a place and then moved into another place and had a tremendous amount of pain. So much so that like I'd pack my bags in the middle of the night and go somewhere else, and for a couple of years, and then finally moved out of there. And I realized that there was something, the police. I have no idea really who it was, but it was something targeting me where I was, and it still hurts a lot, but not as bad as when I lived in this certain apartment. Only about a year ago, I moved. Not even a year ago, maybe 3 months ago. So I don't know what was in that apartment, but
Kind of how it is. It's kind of gotten that way for me. And I can't imagine. I don't think it's anyone local. I think it's I don't know. It could be a satellite-based system, but I don't think it's anyone. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess.
Richie, I have a question about the tone.
Yeah, sure.
Can you hear me? How do I know if I use that app? How do I know? I'm severely hacked electronically. Everything. Okay. How do I know that I'm getting or I'm receiving, okay, that sound from the app and not from them? I'm very wary of anything online.
Because you can play with a dial and you can hear it go up and down, and you stop it where you feel comfortable. And even if they did play with it, it's going to do them no benefit. That's the reason I can't do it anymore, because when I put it on, they switch it off. So
yeah, they do that to me all the time. They just switch things off. It's I know. Yeah.
So I did have a black phone too, which is like a CIA phone, but they stole it. So I was good at it. It's expensive and unhackable. So that's why they stole it.
Do you know, I actually went out and got a regular handheld AM/FM radio and an old-fashioned CD player. Do you know they broke it before I could take it out of the package? Every one that I bought, I didn't even remove that packaging from them, and they were broken when I removed them.
Oh.
Now, if it happens once, it happens every single time.
I just thought I would suggest something maybe. Do you have an address confidentiality program in your state? Every state has it, I think, and if you apply for it and you can put down your reasons. I was able to get it on stalking, and it goes through the state, Every state has it, I think, and they will forward your mail to you. And they'll do small packages if you let them know ahead of time, and you apply through your state. And that way it won't be tampered with.
They don't need to open the box to break something electronically.
Exactly.
Well, no, but chances
From
of
the
better.
store into my bedroom.
Oh, from the store. Oh,
yeah,
There's always,
yeah.
There's always
Oh.
remote frequencies.
Just like those beams that they hit my brain with, they're hitting my my electronics with.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh.
And address confidentiality only works where you have like a regular, just a, small-time loser stalker who doesn't have access to databases. But now it's, if you have a phone number, you're listed. If you have...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they know it, but, I've realized that. I just thought,
Guys, you got to start thinking bigger than you think. You really do.
No,
I mean,
no,
this
I have.
is psyop.
Yeah, I know.
This
I know.
is just to throw you off.
I
That's all
thought
it is.
that long term I could, get something concrete against people because, frankly, I know that, they're the government. No, they are employees or they are criminals. They're either employees of state, federal, or local, or they are criminals. And I hold any and all of them personally accountable. And they all are individuals that, I think they want to appear more formidable. They are formidable, but they want to appear more, what is the word? They're doing something, so I can't think of the word. But more omniscient and omnipotent than they really are. They have like a Wizard of Oz complex. And someday I think this stuff is going to come down. It's gotten too. It's too common in the population now.
The only way I see it coming down is there's too many hands stirring the pot. Too many of them are doing this. Okay,
Is that Ann?
They got to screw up.
Ann?
Yeah, I had a horrible day.
Yeah, Ann, I was just
Frank.
speaking about. I'm sorry to interrupt you two. I was just speaking earlier about the hair loss, and I referred to you as an example of it. And I'm getting
I wasn't on the call.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of people emailing and texting that they're losing their hair. So you're not alone. And
It's radiation. Of course we're losing our hair. It's radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's women go for, men too, I guess, laser treatment to remove hair. It makes sense.
How about this? Like, I got a scar on my nose. I had a little bump on my nose. I went in, I had it surgically removed, and now I have a scar, like kind of a big scar. And every time I go into a grocery store, or a store, or regular Walmart, whatever, something like that, my nose starts to run. And it's like, okay, is somebody trying to make me look like I'm like doing, some kind of drug that's making your nose run? It's just so weird. And it never did that before.
It's not from the surgery, hon. It's not from the surgery. It has to do with chemical exposure.
Yeah, it does.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But how? And why is it when I go into a store?
Because the stores are contained and they're recirculating the air. And they're hitting the stores. People are carriers. They bring it in from their cars or or they just gas it in. I mean, the stores are very contaminated now. Got to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. That's
So
only just
Frank,
one thing.
I
That's
wanted to
not
ask
even...
you, did you check out that tracking radar information that I was telling you about?
I'm getting through it. I researched the LRAD, and I've come to the conclusion. Richie Peel says in the chat that they are in fact using it. But I did some reading, and I watched several videos. And for those of you who don't know, it stands for Long Range Acoustic Device. I don't believe it's the culprit, but what's curious is it can be controlled by satellite. So which satellite, whose satellite? So it might lead us back up into where we want to go in terms of finding out like who owns the satellite and is it in synchronous orbit? What type of satellite is it? So I think it's very important.
But there's also radar that uses infrared for tracking movements, heat signatures, and so forth.
Yeah, that's another way of tracking for sure. And what I was going to say was, I refer back to the Montauk project where they used that radar that actually crept along the ground, if you could believe that, to find people. So the Montauk project produced a lot of interesting devices, or incorporated a lot of interesting devices. Yeah, I'm definitely into all forms of radar and satellite. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, that's where I was, researching. I'm not doing that much of it now, but I put the picture together off of that research. And if you're near a tower, they can use the towers, but they also use satellites. They also use the airspace to fly over. At least in my case, they fly over a lot when there's sensitive information coming and going here. And I know that there's a lot of integration of these technologies.
Right. This all goes back to not primitive psychology, but here's the example I will give. Communism works perfectly as long as you can see the other person's eyes or what he's doing.
Wow.
So when a country gets larger and it breaks out of the commune, we'll say, and people separate into other countries, the curiosity to know what the others are doing overwhelms people. They have to know everything. Some people are ridiculous about it. They have to know everything. But that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's all about psychology. It's human nature.
That's right.
But how are they living their own lives if they're looking at someone else? I mean, if I'm sitting at home watching someone else all the time, how am I living my own life? and by the way, Frank, what you said, and you're right. And what you said about the satellite, if that's what you're tracking, if that's what you're investigating right now, that can be really tricky. I mean, at least according to some books that I read. I just read a book where this satellite, it was in place. It was kind of ironic because I feel like I'm in the same situation. There was something placed inside of someone, and it had like a 24-year expiration. And this person who was contracted with the government, the Department of Defense, who actually ran this other third-party company, decided to buy the rights to the satellite. And they could not, I mean, how are you going to figure out if it's someone like that? I mean, not to dissuade you or discourage you from what you're doing or anything, but I mean, what if it's so like governmentally oriented? I mean, do you think could you really like bring someone like that down?
Well,
Or,
you know, can I just please chime in? You know what? You know, the government, let's just, you know, respectfully, guys, again, like the government is, the United States is not a country. We're a corporation. And so, you know what? I mean, it really does come down to evil versus good. You know, you just really have evil people. You know what? And when you have so much money, what's the next thing that you want? Is power. You know what? Over, just like Frank said, you know what? A need to know. You have to know for what? For what? Why can't you just be content with what you have? But no, you have to control people. You know what? You've got, you know, the Georgia Stones, you know, Bill Gates and all of them, you know, in agreement talking about, oh, we only want this many people on the earth. You know what? We're, we're considered, I mean, in the eyes of the law, a consumer. You never want anyone to call you a consumer, because to look at, you know, Black Laws Dictionary, Bouvier, you know what, Laws Dictionary, a consumer is, you know what, one that just eats, sleeps, drinks, you know what, consumes and is good for nothing. Your 14th Amendment. I mean, like, there's just a whole nother language that these people, you know, eat, drink, sleep, and you know, they get up and they can do these things and go have lunch at the end of the day like nothing ever happened. Nothing ever. You know, it's just incredible. You know what? No, yeah. This government is not. They're de facto. They're not even real. You know what? They're de facto. They're not de jure. You know, I mean, to really go back into our true history. You know, I wasn't here in 1828. I wasn't here in 1861. You know what? Well, it's written, and you know what? They suppressed it. They suppressed it. You know, Frank spoke on that earlier. You know, about, you know what? You know, technology and things like that. You know, yeah, it's been suppressed. You know, it's been there. It's been there, but you know what? Remember, guys, there's that 1%. You know, 1%ers. Imagine that 1%ers. You know, that know all of these things that you know we're just now finding out about. That, guess what? 80% of the populace, you know, the masses doesn't know. And then you have, you know, 19% who know and don't believe that, you know what, oh, well, people can't do that. That's against the law. You know what, do you really think they care? That 1% at the end of the day, do you really think they care? They don't. They don't. I mean, like, just imagine, you know, I mean, all of the hell, all of the suffering, all of the things that we're seeing and absolutely experiencing ourselves, but we're hearing and we're seeing. You know what, guys, come on. That is just pure evil. Can you imagine yourself doing anything like that, separating a child from its parent? Do you? And I know. Everybody on this call. I know everybody on this call knows that when they took those children away, you're not going to tell me that they didn't chip them. You're not going to tell me that. I'll never believe that. I know that they did something to those children. You know what? I believe it. I believe it. I mean, like before all this stuff even started with Hitler, who did Hitler start with? He started on his own people. He started with the Germans. It's something. I mean, these people are like evil. Like just like really, really evil. And the only way to overcome evil is with good. Is with good. And so you know what? We're not going to give them, you know what, that satisfaction. You know what? I might bend. You know what? But you're not going to break my will. You're not. I'm going to cry loud and spare not. I am clearly a researcher. Some of the things that you guys said, you know what? You're hitting it right on point. And there are some things that are, you know what? It just defies logic. You know, for a person to even read it and say, "Oh, come on, that's like phony news, really?" But it's happening right in your face, and you're still calling it. You know what? Like if something is clearly green, why are you calling it polka dot? I mean, it's like a neon green, and you say, no, but that's polka dot. That's polka dot. I'm like really, did that brain work? No. That's the one thing that they can't get, and they want our heart, our head. What are they trying to do, guys? At the end of the day, they're trying to replace, the creator on the throne. They're really trying to create, what they want to replace him. I mean, with their weather machines and all of that. And over here in Philly, I did some research and found out, that Philly, is zoned. Now,
You're not
wait a
even
minute.
showing
You
it.
guys, huh? When you guys hear zoned, you know that that's, that has to do with, a decision made by a man. Not that, no, God didn't deem that. How is it that, Philadelphia is zoned, to never have tornadoes? Now, Frank, I'll shoot this to you. So, you can send it out to the community. No tornadoes, no catastrophes, none of that in Philadelphia. How is that? But everybody else can be hit with all of this stuff, all over tsunamis, all of this stuff overtaking people. But it is actually listed that, Philadelphia is zoned not to experience any hurricanes, any tornadoes. That's man-made. You had to come up with that. No, there was a meeting of the minds, and they got together and said, okay, well, this is where everything first happened. All right. So, the White House, was in Philadelphia. The founding fathers and, everything started in Philly. And, I mean, I'm just a researcher. I really am. And to see how wicked these people really are. It hurts. It hurts, but it doesn't stop me from doing what it is that I do.
Okay.
And that's pray.
I need to interrupt you just for a
How do
second.
you keep it up when it hurts? I get very upset. Because I'm told to work and do this and do that. And I know, and I got fired for something stupid, very stupid, after 10 years, although I could have been working probably a little bit harder, but I just needed somebody to sit down with me and say, hey, you know what, you need to do this or you're going to get let go. I never had that. I got a phone call after 10 years of hard, diligent work, never had a gap in my employment from 14 years old until now till 47, never had a gap in employment. And then all of a sudden I got fired. And that's when all this targeting happened to me. I was put on this list. And I do believe in these lists. I think they are legit. Not legit, but they are. There are these lists out there. I really think so. And I got put on this list. Yeah. And I just think, okay, now people are telling me you have to do this, and this. And I'm getting disability, and I'm living the best way I can. New things come around, and I'm like, for instance, I found a pool that I can swim laps at, and I feel so good when I do that. Well, now I can't. That's not good enough. I have to go do this class and I have to do this class. And it's like, if somebody, I just have to have a strong mind and say, all right, I'm going to take some art classes. I'm going to spend my time, because it's my life, doing this instead of this. But it's amazing how many people like try to tell you what you have to do with your life, where you should go.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Are you a Christian?
Yeah, well, I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
So
okay.
I definitely believe in Jesus.
Okay. You know what? I'm telling you. Well, being a doctor of theology, believe me. I mean, no, not an honorary, an earned doctorate. You know what? Yeah. The enemy hates worship and praise. You know what? And you know what? If there are some one thing that I know for sure that you can do in your home, and I would tell this to other TIs, and you know what? And they found that it works. Like little transistor radios, little $5 somewhere. Just put it on praise and worship real low, not even so that you can hear it, but just in little places in your house. You know what? So that's one way. You know what? No, they can't stand praise, so they're going to get out of there. But you know what? No, you need to you talked about your mind. You know what? And you know what? I know they're always. You know what? I have to. You know what? Try to get a stronger mind. No. You've already given all that. You know what? To the God of your understanding. So you know what? No. The Bible declares that, he whose mind is stayed on me, I'll keep him in perfect peace. Why? Because his trust is in the Lord. You know what? And I used to get this horrendous. I mean, guys, like nobody in the house got it but me. I mean, tendonitis, unreal. I mean, and so this was, the whole nine, insomnia, the whole nine. Even came here where I am now. You know what? Started again. You know what? And I was led to this one song that, I was searching for, for like over 30 years. But I listen, I don't listen to like just any praise and worship. Like really something that is like real. It just resonates with you. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I played this. You know what? And you know what? I'm telling you. You know what? I don't have it. You know what? No. My mind. You know what? They're just right. They're just not going to take over my mind. They're just not. You know what? I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. That's the best thing that I can really tell you to do. If you tried everything else. You know what?
No, that's really good advice. I did that actually last Sunday. There was something that was irritating me profusely, and I just came in and I turned on. I love gospel music. I love it. I just went to see Whitney Houston the other day, and I love classical music. I love yoga type, spa, serenity music. And I turned it on, and it did. It turned my mood into, you know what? I'm not listening to this negativity. I'm going to go about my day, and it really helped. And then this
that's right.
You're right. This week I didn't do that. It ruined my whole day.
Keep it. So, you know what? Yeah. When you find it, like I heard Frank say just the 2 times that I've been on the call. You know what? When you find it, you know what? When you find your niche. You know what? You run with it. You know what? Because no, they're not expecting for us to get together and help each other. You know what? But there's strength in numbers, and all of us have a part to this puzzle. You know what? That they, we're like scatterbrain. They're trying to take some of our brain, like the Wizard of Oz, the straw man, and throw it over here and throw it over there, and scatterbrain. Some of your brain is here. No, it's just not going to happen. It's not. You're in control. You know what? You are. You know what? And the God who fearfully and wonderfully made you is in control. You know what? If you feel bad about this, how do you think he feels? You know what? Because he sits high and looks low, beholding the good as well as the evil. Their day will come, but you know what? I don't even like, I get so upset with them. Trust me, I do. And I have to go and I gotta get myself right. I'm not perfect, because you know what? I will flip out on these people. I do. But you know what? At the end of the day, again, the only thing that can overcome evil is good. And so I have to do, you know, what I've been taught to do. And that's, you know what, to pray for those that, you know what, mischievously, you know what, use me and speak all manner of evil against me. That's hard. That's hard. But you know what, when I get, you know, the only way I can kind of get there is when I get on my knees and I begin to remember all of the things that he's forgiven me for. You know what, and it really does just, you know, paves the way for me to, you know what, even ask, you know what, for mercy on these people. Because you know what, you made a point. You know what, like, how can they sit back and do this? Guess what? They can do this, and they don't even know that they're being watched. The watchers are being watched. They think that, you know what, they're getting, you know what, oh, we'll give you this car, we'll do this, we'll get your child out of jail, you'll get a new, you know, a house when you want one, we'll do this, we'll do that, you know what? But they're on their hit list as well. So you know what?
That is so right. You have nailed it. If I may say, you've nailed it on the head. I mean, I wish they would realize that, you know. I mean, they're going to be, you know, I read about a high up admiral at one of the Air Force bases underground that they were looking into his death, but he may have committed, I mean, some of these people commit suicide. You know, they can't take it when it, you know. So yeah,
Dr.
you know,
Ryan was doing it to people, and then all of a sudden he decided to become a good guy. Thank God. You know, he changed his.
Yeah.
And then had to get, you know, I've researched and found out that there were a lot of ex-military, and they have, you know, a group of people as well. You know, so that when they come out, they go into like a group like us, you know what, because they know that they were part of making this happen, but they were told that it was for, you know what, you know, enemies, you know, that would come up against, you know what, the United States, not knowing that it would be used on the American people. And when they found out, you know what, now they became targets. And so, you know, they're like, you know, saying, hey, you know what? These people are doing this, and the reality is, you know, at the end of the day, the more you know what? Guess what? You're on that hit list. You might have third-party clearance. You can have anything you want. Trust me. But you know what? Man's glory lasts for a season. You know what? No. There are no guarantees. You go ahead and you place your trust in man and see what you get back. See what you get back, because you know what? Sin does have, you know what? You do get paid. There's the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. And you know what? And really, you know, I do wish that, you know what, like you said, people would come out, you know what, and you know, post up and help out and stop. You know what? Stop this evil from going forth from the land. They need to be removed from the land. You know what? This is the, you know what? These are the so-called higher ups. This is not how we, the people, feel. You know what? I mean, like you have loving, caring, you know what? You know, God-fearing people, and you're trying to, you know, turn us against each other. You're trying to do all this mayhem and just destroy all of God's splendor, so that you can do what? You can sit back and you know what? Lay back in the lap of luxury. It's not going to happen. Apparently, you're not reading your Bible. You know, as a joke guy, your Bible. You're not reading the end of the book, because you know you clearly lose at the end. You know what I mean? You might have it going on now, but you know what? 80, 90 years is nothing in the face of eternity. So, we'll just take, our courage in that, all good things, and in their case, they're calling it a good thing. Must come to an end. But in our case, trouble don't last always. So this trouble will be lifted. It will.
I hope so. I mean, these experiments that they're doing, even my doctor was like, oh my gosh. They couldn't believe that. My one doctor said, I've seen people with one or two, but I've never seen somebody with all three. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? and my other, other physicians, like, these experiments that they're doing on people, and then they're going to come back and go, oh, well, we used you so that we could show other people that this is going on, and we had no intention to really do this to you. BS. That they had that doctor and whoever else was in that operating room that they knew that they didn't think it would ever go this far, that I would be on these conference calls or anything like that. They thought I would be dead. Either
That's
that
right.
or, highly improvised, so that I was like, in a corner somewhere slaving away. I really do believe that.
You guys take over for a few minutes. I have a technical difficulty I have to fix here right away.
Okay.
Okay.
You in there, sir?
But these lists and stuff and these experiments that they're doing, I asked another doctor, I said, look, doc, neurologists, they're not, they're pretty smart people. And I said, do you think that it will ever come to fruition, this program that is going on, where, they're taking a chip or not, and making and brain and reading your brain and reading your mind and the satellite thing and the tinnitus and the V2K. Will it ever come? Is it going to come to an end? Are people going to see all of this? He said, nope, they never will. And it's disheartening, She's probably being realistic, probably being honest.
They're liars.
But you know what?
It is coming to them, and it's already on them.
But there's a sad truth to what he said, because it's true. You know what? Because they put so many obstacles before us. You know what? You have, they're breaking up our families. You know what? So now you have the woman, a woman, raising her child, or her children without her husband. She's got 2 jobs, 3 jobs. There's so many things, the homework, the this, the gas, the that, the this, the that. You know what? That you don't have time enough to really, sit back and really see what's really, really going on, because they're putting so much, crap in front of us, guys. So much. People are up against so much. Just come on. Haiti and Puerto Rico alone, and those God bless you. Those young men. You are so welcome. You know what? Those young men that was proof that we know that there is a God, because He got them out of that tunnel, out of that cave. You know what? And what struck me so hard was, when the news reporter got on television, how quick man was to give up on, those humans. She came out of her mouth from a prompter and read, well, there's a 24-hour search and recovery, operation that's going on around the clock. You know what? Those are key words. Listen to the words search and recovery. She should have said search and rescue. When they say rescue, then you know that there's a possibility that they still could be alive. But you know what? I mean, like the minute it aired, that's exactly what she said. And I just couldn't believe, like this woman, okay, if she has no faith, that, you read what's in front of you and like you're not convicted. That's what I'm saying about like anything that goes on. It's just like what all about you. Just like just along my thing is right, and everything is going well in my life. And no, we were put here for each other. All of us. We all have something, to lend to one another, to strengthen one another. I didn't make you. You didn't make me. We were all fearfully and wonderfully made. And so for people to think that they can control us and, at the end of the day, determine who's going to live and who's going to die and who's going to suffer and all that, listen, there is a special part in hell for them. I mean, really, you can't tell me that, like there's like not a hell. You can't. There's hot, there's cold, there's up, there's down, there's, there's left, there's right, there's a balance. With all of this evil, how are you going to let these people get away? I'm just asking you guys, when someone does something that is clearly like violates, the encampment, we're all in an encampment, and somebody really does something hideous, that person needs to just clearly be removed from the encampment. They need, you need to, okay, if we'll go through, yes, a process of, trying to rehabilitate that person. But if you continue, I mean, like, when you gonna call sin sin? When you gonna deal with it?
Okay.
When you gonna deal with it?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask or anything like that? Because clearly there must be somebody else out there that would like to speak. I'm not trying to go ahead.
This is kind of a goofy one. Well, I don't want to. I'm gonna ask it anyway. I bought a stun gun, and I bought it because I think I have a device in my body, and my friend said, "Don't do it." And I actually saw online someone from our community, not necessarily this conference call, but maybe the whole United States, put a YouTube on and took the stun gun and made it into more of a less of a shocking device, which just helps the head when the pain is there in the head just by like gently placing it on your head. And he said that at first he stun gunned because he had a device, and he said he stun gunned his device and it went blank. It just totally annihilated or inebriated or disconnected whatever it was that was making it work. Is that a stupid thing to do? Stun gun yourself, you think? Or I'm kind of scared to do it.
I would be scared myself to do that.
Really? Have you ever done that, Frank?
No. Something that I did do, I don't advise any of you to do, but I was in the middle of a very severe attack and I was far away from home, and I had my phone, and there was a woman on Facebook. She's not there anymore. She had a group and everything. She's just not there. I can't remember what her name was, but she said, flash your phone in your eyes, because I had like these jagged lines. I think they were yellow, blue, and red in a corner of each eye. And she said, flash yourself with your camera. It's happened to me. And I did that. And I was really flipped out because I was by myself in the middle of like a park area and there was a picnic table there, and that's where I sat down to do it. And then I stood up and decided to do it. I got a picture of somebody behind me. It was a blonde woman, but her face was distorted, but you could definitely see teeth, hair, but like the side of her face was distorted, like there was a hand there or something, like it was captured very quickly. So I still have the picture. I think I'll post it. But that kind of flipped me out, but that worked. But don't do it.
It works, but don't do it. Okay.
Yeah, you might
Thanks for your
blind
honesty.
you might blind yourself. Somebody's eyes maybe can take that. Somebody's eyes might not be able to. But yeah. I don't know as I'd stun myself. I think I would go more towards using a handheld EMP device, which is sustained. It's not a flash or anything like that. It's sustained. And I can take the one that I built and hold it up to like a household phone, and it'll kill it in like 3 or 4 seconds. So it does work. Anybody who wants the plans for it, I'll send them out with a list of things that you need to buy. But it's high voltage, so I'm really scared for you. It's 6,000 volts.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even open it.
Yeah. I'd take it back.
Yeah, that's high voltage, Frank. That's yeah.
It sure is. See if you can get some specifications on that, because a stun gun would actually, if you hooked up to it properly, you could actually use that as an EMP device.
I think that's what the guy on YouTube did. He hooked it up to, yes, he made an EMP device
You have
with
to.
it, I'm pretty sure.
There are
I
specifications,
bet somebody
though.
stole it out of my bedroom. I can't even find it now.
There are specifications to that, though. You cannot just grab a spool of copper wire and hook it up to it and expect to come up with an EMP wave. There is a certain diameter, a certain number of coils per kilovolt, I think. So you've probably got easily 10 kilovolts or more in that device.
I can't even find it now. I bought it and I put it on a chair and it's gone. Go figure.
Caller 29, you have an audio issue. Your mic wants to open every time someone speaks, so you need to just turn down a little bit, if you would, and that would be you. And no, not you. And as soon as you get that straightened out, just hit *6, unmute yourself. Nobody's muted in here unless there's a problem with their phone. And let's see if she's straightened out. Yeah, she is. I didn't want to interrupt the person that was talking. I just wanted to alert everyone else that, okay, you have a right to get in there and, counter what she's saying or agree with what she's saying or whatever. So I apologize if I interrupted.
No, you're fine. You know, I guess it's a moral or ethical question that I have about it, and you know, everyone has a right to defend themselves. I want to just state that first. If they're being assaulted and their lives are being threatened, they do. And now we've got energy weapons available online. They're not maybe industrial grade. They're maybe handheld. They might be smaller and weaker. But what do you think about, I'm just opening it up to the conversation. What do you think about that? Would you ever use a weapon? Would you buy one? What kind? You know, where would you keep it? How would you use it and all that?
I would, if I would use it if someone was trying to really hurt me really, really badly, like punching me or trying to overcome me, or I mean, somebody was trying to kill me, or one of my pets, I probably might use it. But you know, I'm a yoga person. You know, I like Zen. I love also too, probably gets me in trouble, but Jesus told me to go that route, so I don't care what anyone says.
Can I make a recommendation? A small Beretta, like 9mm, that'll fit like in your pocketbook or in your pocket. Make sure. I really don't like to see guns go in pockets though, because sometimes safety's aren't on. Yeah. So, small 9mm. You don't want to walk around with a cannon like a 45 or something like that. Just or a 30,
but also they have,
or even.
I hear you. And I did look at some weapons in the early years, and I'm talking about 12 years ago. That you know, I did look, and I decided for myself. This is not for anybody else. I decided that buying a firearm was not in my, it was not in my path. I wasn't going to use it. I don't think that I wanted to even have it near me or handle it. But now, because energy weapons, small, low-grade energy weapons are available, and I'm not shopping for them, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would call myself a yoga person, but most people have known me as a spiritual counselor, and I'm a peace-loving, God-fearing person. And I know that there are consequences to using weaponry, whether you call it karma or you call it consequences or cause and effect in the universe. God will look and see, what is your intention. And if you end up hurting somebody really badly, or you kill them, oh wait.
But I was thinking about using this on myself, just to get rid of the impact that this chip has in me, like of this buzzing sensation. This is and in order to just engage with that I had no intention of buying it, using on anyone else. Although,
well, a frequency generator, I understand about that. I was waiting for this person who was being rude to stop making noise, so I wanted to finish my thought. That, yes, there are frequency generators. There are, white noise, brown noise. There are different ways to jam signals, and that those are kind of, those are defense mechanisms. Those are countermeasures. But I'm wondering if we had to, would the community consider stepping up to a more aggressive approach to defending themselves? And I'm saying that because these things are available. They're available to those guys. It might also be available to us if we needed to. And if you're thinking about energy, I mean, what would they do to you? Would they step up your targeting and make it worse? Would they back off? Would they, but anyway, there are consequences to using things like that.
Yes.
And it might disturb your consciousness. It might change your frequency. It might lower your frequency if you've been working for a couple of decades to raise your vibration and get closer to enlightenment. This would definitely reverse the process. So that's another concern of my own. But just putting it out there for people to think about, you know, instead of, I mean, personally, I get tired of people sitting around complaining and not really stepping up to, you know, and just to strengthen their own spirit. I know we're getting beat up. I know we're getting tortured, but they do that because they know that people aren't fighting back. They're not going to fight back. If they don't, then they're just going to make it worse for you. That's
But
all.
it's if they're invisible. They're invisible, these people that are doing this. To me, anyway, I have no clue who would be. And it's a group. It's an institution or something. Most likely, I don't know one. I couldn't name one particular person. So if someone has, you can.
Yeah, but they're not in my neighborhood. Some people have neighbors who are attacking them. In that instance, you know, turn it around, right? You turn it around on them. Well, I know that there are certain towers being used on me. So what if I was able to deflect the signal back to the tower somehow?
Yeah, I mean, if you could, I don't know how to do that. I'm too busy with this other stuff. I mean, I would love to be a researcher, and I really admire, you know, everybody out there here in the community that does all these research and activism and stuff. But when my mind has that, I mean, it's very tempting when your head is like, it has the feeling that my head experiences, and I have the vibrations that I have going through my body for 10 years. It's very tempting to think, if I put this right here and I go through a little bit of pain for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, this thing's going to be gone. Maybe. I mean, it might be a little bit of an act of violence to my body, but it certainly isn't an act of violence for the past 10 years of what this has been putting me through. So, you know, if God understands, fine. If he doesn't, I probably won't do it, because I you know, I'd love to see this thing through too. But, you know, and how am I ever going to get it detected or ever out if I do that? But at the time when it hurts really, really bad, yeah, it can be very, 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 very tempting. I just wondered if anybody else had done it, that's all, or tried it. I've tried the magnets, the $500 magnets. I've tried all of the shielding. I wear
$500 magnet? $500
magnet.
Pull.
No, I bought this big old magnet from Texas. And it was very expensive. And they said that this would deactivate it too, or at least kind of do something with the signal. And I sleep with it, and I can feel it. Like, I can feel it, but it never deactivated anything.
Really?
Yeah. But I can feel it. Like, when I put it next to my body, I can feel, like, inside my body. It's wild.
Maybe you could magnetize things with it to use for shielding, if it's really strong.
Yeah. Yeah. It helps to a degree.
Anybody else? Frank, what do you think about? And I'm not talking about typical firearms, you know what I'm saying, right?
Right. I think I agree in part that can really mess you up everywhere, universally. But the reason STARS was formed is STARS is going to be a very aggressive group, and it not in, you know, getting violent or anything like that, but if somebody is really plagued with something, the STARS group in that area will, like, descend on that house immediately, get a permit, and do a demonstration right in front of the house. You know, so
That's good.
I like to use the pen first. You know, if somebody is going to come at you and they want to hurt you and they're going to try and kill you, I think the powers that be would pardon you if you shot them. Do you agree with that?
That's the law.
Well, and see, the law down here really doesn't. It matters to me, but it really doesn't in some way. You know, can you agree with that?
Yeah.
But
Well, I think universal law, you know, God's law is the ultimate decision maker. But
yeah.
You know, and I believe also what you're saying. You know, first you try the pen, you speak, you do activism, you collect evidence. Most every TI has gone through a series like that, especially in their early years. You know, or at least in the early years of awareness. There's probably years where they're not aware that they, you know, they can't do anything. But once they start being aware, then maybe the first 5 years of the, you know, the program ends up being just what you said, you know, and looking for legal help and restraining orders and all that. But they don't respond to it. It hasn't changed yet. All the letters that were written, all the meetings, all the flyers, they don't even care about that. They don't back off if there's 1,000 flyers or, you know, I mean, it just keeps going.
If you go to the police station, I mean, they used to laugh at me. I would go to the police station and say, I'd really like to know what was going on when I was living on Federal Street and there was this man who was walking back and forth. I probably told you guys the story. And every time I tried to sleep, he would wake me up by screaming and moaning. And it was like I opened my window and I looked out and I said, hey, and you know, this is a bad neighborhood too. And I should never have opened my window. And he turns around and points a gun at me. And I'm like, and I shot deck, you know, boom. And I went to the police station and, you know, it's weird, but I actually felt sorry for that guy because I thought, number one, he was like a perp that was put there on purpose, probably from jail. And he was. They found out that he was just got out of jail and he was on probation or something like that. And he intentionally, it was weird. He was like, he knew exactly when I was at that point of just drifting off into REM sleep, that's when he would start yelling. And that was so weird. It was like somebody was like telling him, all right, scream now. And because he's almost asleep. And I mean, this went on from 1 o'clock in the morning until 4:30 in the morning when I finally called the police. And I went on to find out, like, a report on what happened to him. And they were like, well, you know, it's really, really none of your business. He's retained. And I'm like, okay.
He what? He repaid?
He was back in jail. I guess he was
detained.
Out of jail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And he could have been mind controlled too.
Yeah. Right. That's true. That's what I thought too.
They'll use just about anything.
Done.
Yeah. Anyway, there's not a whole lot of. I thought that would stir up conversation, but it seems like there's not only a few people really thinking about it.
No, I would. That's a personal decision, and if you're a woman and you want to carry a handgun, and you're in an area like that, I can't say don't carry a handgun because, geez, what I will do is, like I say, recommend one, a small 9mm Beretta. And
actually, I don't think it's a good idea for TIs
Yeah.
get a handgun, you have to go through a clearance and get it registered, and that
Right.
leaves anything back to you. I mean, I carry pepper spray. You know, you don't need a license for that.
Yeah.
You can make a homemade pepper spray also. You know, and there are other things like hairspray works too if you have to, or something like that.
I have a girlfriend that has a little 9mm Beretta. I don't know, because I'm on this disability program for anxiety. If I had the paperwork at one point in 212, had the paperwork all filled out, and I didn't send it in to get my license for a weapon because I was reading the fine print and it said if you have disability, anxiety, blah, 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 and they looked that up, they might not give you a hand weapon.
You wouldn't get approved.
I wonder if I would get approved. I wonder. I'm just curious. I might do the paperwork just to see.
I don't know. I mean, it's dangerous because your name on there, your address, everything, your background check goes into it. I don't think a registered weapon is the way for a TI to go. Not at all.
Well, especially the people that are being talked to, you know, and told, the V2Ks and stuff like that. I mean, I can totally empathize with you there. I never had the V2K, but I have the loud ear ringing. I don't know if it's hiding V2K, or if it's, I think it's just the vibration. And I'm very thankful that I never had V2K. I think that would be horrendous.
You know, one of the things that helps with that hissing sound or the tinnitus is wearing earbuds and listening to music. And the earbuds have to be in your ear canal. And
also news in slow French. When I listen to the news in slow French, Frank said listen to news in slow French with your earbuds. When I do that and I read a book, it slowly like goes away. Yeah. But I have to be doing two things at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's wild.
All right. Well, at least it's something.
Yes.
Okay, so we're sort of agreed on weapons anyway.
Yeah.
Because
on that part of it, yeah.
Yeah, they dig in. I mean, I had a license to carry at age 23, and they dig into your juvenile record. They dig into everything, and it expired in 1985, and I haven't renewed it.
Yeah, I just skip. I'm just skip that whole thing. I'd love to deflect some of these heavier signals that come off of the tower. They keep beefing up the towers, and they keep adding stuff, you know. And
I'd love to take karate lessons. How do you guys honestly feel? I mean, this is something that bothers me. So tell me your honest opinion, please. And I hate to interrupt, but this is really, really on my mind. I have an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to work a part-time job, okay? And I've been doing it for some time. But there's other things in my life that I would rather do, and I am getting a disability check. What is the most important thing? I mean, do I need to be out there? Do we need to be out there as CIs trying our best?
That's person by person. You do what you feel is right for you. I mean, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
But come TI Day on August 29th, I think we all should do something. I think in Massachusetts, what we're going to do here is just go protest and pass out flyers.
I'm going to visualize world peace.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Hi, Laura here. Yeah, visualize world peace. I like that.
I used to have a bumper sticker. You remember that bumper sticker? That was kind of from the 90s or 80s. And it was just that blue and said that on it.
It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, because I can't go anywhere right now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
I'm not.
half of the problem with this world is men with large egos, or maybe women with large egos.
Some women, yeah, with large egos.
Yeah, well, they want to just control everything, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it usually ends up backfiring.
So yeah, Frank, I was going to ask you, what do you think about TI Day? What I'm doing is just having people call me, and then giving them the address, and I haven't posted it anywhere or anything, and nobody, yeah. So I would have to talk to somebody in person. Do you think that's the best route?
Yeah, you can do that.
You could.
We already have you. We already have you posted.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as I want people to feel comfortable coming, like it's going to be chill. Sure. It's going to be, I don't think I'm going to make people pass out flyers or anything. I was going to go for a celebration of life type of a vibe.
That's great.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I'll just have people call and give them the address when I talk to them personally, I guess.
So you're going to do like one-on-one talks with people?
Well, I don't want to post the address online. I'm just wondering what.
No, I mean,
Frank
you're
thinks about
saying,
that.
are you going to have people come over, or you just
No,
by
I
phone?
rented in my complex. I have a pool. It's a clubhouse. I rented it for the day.
Oh, okay.
For TI Day, yeah,
I
the 29th. So.
Right. Oh, you're the lady in Colorado.
Colorado.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'm feeling like yep. Yep. Colorado. But
well, there must be a safe way to get that to some individuals.
Well, yeah, I've had people call me and I'll just give them the address, but you have to have a card to get it. I mean, it's not like people are going to be walking in off the street. So everybody's welcome. And I was thinking I would cook green chili because somebody said they liked that. So I don't know. Any other ideas? I mean, you can't do little cookies, like little cookies like Targets. That wouldn't be cool. I don't know.
No.
Anyway.
That sounds great. That's a good idea. That way
I got an idea.
I need to get you. Okay.
How about you Skype it to somebody's call so people can kind of visit?
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. That's a great idea. Okay.
So if they can't make it physically, they can still just have conversation.
That's cool. That's a good idea. Right on.
That's a great idea.
Oh. If we're lucky, we might have live music, but you never know.
Oh, wow.
I don't think they would mind.
That'd be worth flying out for.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, if that's one thing I do know how to do is throw a party, so.
Yeah.
We're covered in that area.
Vacation again in Colorado.
Yeah. I used to be good at throwing parties too, some big parties.
Right on.
Worked its way up to a theater where we had, music and dance for, 3,000 square feet.
Oh my! And you don't get out anymore. That's
I know.
Too bad. That's too bad. Oh my.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Well, I did.
Gotta do what you love to do.
Yeah, it would be a lot. It's a lot of work. I was a lot younger, and
yeah, I know. I remember what I accomplished when I was younger. It's like, dang, if I had that energy now.
Energy, exactly.
But yeah, if you Skype it, I think a lot of people would want to tune in.
Cool.
Or if there's some other, everybody's familiar with Skype, but there are some other ones with, like I can't even think of them right now. This, they
Yeah,
have these,
no.
what is it called? Snapchat or one of those?
Yeah, see, I'm
Yeah,
not privy to all that. Yeah, I need Frank to call me sometime and help me actually with walking me through a couple of things that he was security measures that you were talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not real handy that way as far as computer savvy goes, which doesn't help in
I'll be
this
more than
situation.
happy to.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, good call tonight.
I need that too, you guys, Frank. Have you ever tried to, do you get the emails from the big group list, everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever try to send an email reply?
Sometimes it's tough because some people's dropped out. Some person is dropped off the list, or his box is full, and you get like 9 or 10, okay, undeliverable type things. But for the most part, it works.
The mine, every time I try to make a reply, I get your server is not accepting, like CC Cunningham, and I try to delete them and I can't. So I can never make a reply. I used to with my other phone. Now that I just purchased this phone, recently.
I sent you an email.
Did you send me something? Did you? Thank you.
To
I didn't
tell,
get it yet.
I
I didn't
think
open it.
to ask if you would leave me with your cell number, because my contacts were cleaned off of my numbers, and I'm getting them all back. I've just about got them all, but it's taken me like weeks to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Okay, just to do a little recap, we talked about LRAD, which is actually long range acoustic device. And the thing that caught my eye about it was actually that it was controlled, if you chose to do so, by satellite. But it doesn't have the, it has the range, but if somebody played with it, I'm sure they could get it to do V2K, but we'd have to look at frequencies and all the parameters that make it work, because looking at it right now, it's just a loudspeaker. But it does use heterodyning, and it can be controlled by a satellite, so that's a possibility, because we are being tracked by satellites. There's no two ways about it. You can't fly around the world and tell me that when you get off the plane, you're still targeted and it's not satellites. It has to be. The only
target you in the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
While you're sitting in your seat. Yeah. Moving at 400 miles an hour or whatever they do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I try and tell people, that you can be cruising along in your car at 75, 80 miles an hour, heading down I-95, and they're still with you. It's not like there's a car following you. Nobody behind you, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody in front of you, but the person's still with you.
Excuse me.
Caller 35, would you like to speak? No, they muted themselves. Okay. Yeah, so this LRAD, I'm going to put on the back burner. And another thing we spoke of is targets losing hair. And Ann is going through that problem from New York. And we are running a Northeast Billboard fundraiser, which is actually just started. And I went over the fact that we are running a TI survey that was written by Max Harrison Williams from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And some really good news we have is some TI wrote a letter to the Department of Energy, and it was referred to the CIA. And she got a very nice letter back from the Department of Energy. And I have it, and I was amazed. Yeah, Derek just faxed it to me because the information was originally sent to him. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff.
Can you send that out?
I have to actually ask permission before I can do anything with it. What I'm going to ask is that I can take what she sent to the Department of Energy apart so that somebody might use it as a template to send to another government faction.
Uh-huh.
Well, could you paraphrase what you said in the letter? Tell us something. Why was it referred to the CIA?
It was referred to the CIA because the Department of Energy is not into anything criminal of that magnitude. So they jumped over the FBI and went right to the CIA. So that tells me that they had prior knowledge that, okay, yes, this is going on, and the CIA knows all about it. So, because
but also they know that the CIA will throw up walls so you can't get any information.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to try and communicate with those people.
Be careful.
Yeah, I might get the wrong answer later.
No, you might get more targeted like I did. Because that's why my targeting got worse. One of the reasons.
Well, what was it you did?
4 or 5.
What did you do for your targeting to get words?
I applied for a job in counterintelligence.
Oh, okay. And they targeted you?
Yep.
Is that
Did you have the qualifications? Yeah, some of them at least.
I have.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I have enough education and yeah.
Well, then, gosh, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be more targeted because of that.
Obviously, nobody deserves to be tortured over a job application. Just happens to be that, that's the way it is now.
It seems like if you touch upon the government, you get into a list situation.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. They got me on the list. They didn't contact me. They didn't interview me. No recruiting people called me. Nothing legitimate came out of it except being tortured.
Yeah, that's
Alan Alexis, right? Alan Alexis. And what about 90% of the people that talk on these calls have something to do with the Air Force? My father's in the Air Force. My uncle's in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. What is it? You always hear Air Force. Has anybody made that connection? It's a common thread.
Yeah, that is a thread. And also the defense contractors who work with the Air Force, like Lockheed, Boeing, Airbus, General Dynamics,
DICORP. Well, that's my Freddy Krueger. I know. I sat with the CIA. I had fucking drinks with them, okay? And I was supposed to recognize them. So you could just imagine how high up the fucking ladder they were. I guess you're wondering why you're hanging out with the CIA. Why would I know they were the CIA? They weren't wearing name tags. Well, maybe it was because they were so high up the ladder that I should have recognized them.
That doesn't make any sense.
You know, I was taking care of a child for a while. Talk about dough. I was taking care of, you see, all this came to me years later, okay? And I was teaching her how to sing Do, Re, Mi. And every time I would say Do, I get hit. I get a fucking shock. And then Re, and then Mi. Rest of it, not so much. But that Do, Re, Mi, oh, they were sending me a clear message.
Why? They didn't want you to sing Sound of Music? Or
listen to the word. Do, Department of Energy. Ray. Me. Get it?
Yeah.
I have something interesting that happened to me last week. It was amazing. Well, why would I even think it was amazing? Why would I even? My 90-year-old mother, 93-year-old mother, was sitting on the sofa. She didn't move. She never moved off the sofa. And I was in the kitchen, and I put something in the oven. I was baking. And it was the first time I made this recipe. In fact, it was a recipe that I kind of made up, and I wasn't that sure of it. And I decided to bake it for longer than I was told to bake it, okay, because I changed the ingredients. So I glanced from the living room, I glanced into the kitchen, and the stove said 6, and the timer said 6 more minutes, okay? And I said, you know what, I'm going to leave it in for 10. And I ignored it when the timer went off. By the way, my mother's as deaf as a doornail. So, and it's not a big timer. It's just like a little tiny ring on this old stove. So my mother, I let it go, and I let it go to the 10 minutes, and she said to me in complete clarity, as lucid as can be, she says, don't you think you should take that out of the oven now? She says, it's been longer than 6 minutes. Okay? So when you talk about weapons, okay, who would you hit? It can come from anywhere. It came out of my mother's mouth. She never left the sofa. And 6 minutes, she knew. That's when I looked at the time. It was 6 minutes. Nowhere in her range of sight. Not only that, but she didn't even know that I was baking something. So.
Telepathic mom, huh?
They put it in her head, just like they put it in your gang stalker's head to say things to you. Just like these people are really aware of what they're saying. They don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, that was directed action. You did it to your mom. Yeah.
Oh, I've suspected it many times, but this time it was just so, and it's not like they want me to know. They want me to know. They want me to know how far they can go. They don't try hiding anything. And they do things in front of, and they do things in front of other people, okay? And they do it and all of a sudden one day it dawned on me why they do it in front of other people. They want to see how far they could go before the other person will react. Okay? Because they're not doing it for my entertainment. I know what they're able to do. Nothing shocks me that what they've done. Well, God, what I've been through. All right? And it's like, why would they do it in front of somebody else? because they want to see the other person's reaction and what they can get away with, just in case I decide to talk to them.
Yeah, they want to see your reaction. That's all what it's
Yeah,
all
they
about.
do. They do.
They're studying everybody.
More, yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to.
And they want to know how far. Well, in my case, they want to know, because I've said this before, no one has ever turned around and called me crazy, okay? They listen to me. And a lot of people come back with other information, which I'm very honored that happens. Like this guy that I was seeing, I never go into detail. I never go into detail. And I don't even remember what I told him, but it wasn't any hocus pocus stuff. And I told him something, and he said, Ann, did you ever see Persons of Interest? And he refers me to that show where the computer is talking to her in her head, you know? And I didn't watch it until he's like, he called me, he goes, did you watch it? Did you watch it? Did you see it? Because all along, he always tells me, he was always under the impression that I had ESP. He'd say to me, you know, you got that thing going. You got that, and he would wave his finger at his head. You know, you got that thing going on. What thing, Rick? You know, that thing going on. He meant like I could see into the future or something like that. And I said, no, it's not me, it's them. They're telling me this stuff. So, you know, instead of saying, oh, really? You got people talking? No, he said, did you ever see Persons of Interest?
Yeah.
And I also, another time I showed him something, and his reaction was, it was like an encrypted thing. And he looked at it. And a few weeks later, he called me. He says, did you get Rolling Stone magazine? So I said, no. He says, oh my God, there's an article in there. I think you'll find it very interesting. And it was about this thing called cicada. And the word that I encrypted was cicada. So you see, people react. They don't, you know, I don't turn them off. The same thing when I tried telling my brother. My brother's first reaction when I told him, he said, did you ever see Jesse Ventura? I said, who? He goes, you know, that guy, the wrestler, Jesse Ventura? I said, no. He goes, yeah, he has a show called Conspiracy Theory. It's just what you're talking about. So, you see, you know, so, and I think that's why they play with people around me. They want to see, okay, if she starts talking, how far are we going to get? How far, you know, how much will they believe? What do we have to do to work on them? To turn them against her, or to ignore her, or whatever. Because a lot of these people now, they look at me with a blank stare. It's like I want to snap my fingers in front of their face.
Like a deer in headlights?
Yeah, they go blank on me. They just go blank.
Yep.
So
I'm familiar with that. It's very frustrating.
It's like, are you the same person you were yesterday? You know. So, you know, I have to forgive. I can't hold it against them. This is mind control.
It's like they turned on the switch and they shut them down.
You think I'm going to say to my mother, how did you know you were sneaking? Did you go into the kitchen? No. No. She doesn't know why she said it. Although she has had accidents in the past, but she's, you know, an elderly, brittle woman. And she has sworn to me, and she said to me, I will tell you, and I will never tell anybody. And if you tell anybody, I'll deny it. She says, because nobody's going to call me crazy. Okay? And she swears that she was pushed. She says, Aunt, I felt the hands on my back pushing me down. And when I got up, I got pushed down again. And she had some severe injuries.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, that must be something to not be surprised, and yet to see that that has happened to her. Yeah.
You know, it dawned on me today. It was something that I had forgot about, and it happened 3 years ago. They do this thing to me, like they, and Frank had mentioned this as well. They play on your emotions. Okay, so if I'm thinking, I was coming home from work, it was late, and I happened to be passing a branch of the bank that I go to, and I'm thinking I should stop to get gas, but I'm not sure how. Of course, you know, I'm always wondering, do I have enough? Will I cover shopping? Will I cover my groceries? And I'm wondering, and they're like, oh, they're going to play me now. Now they're going to, you don't have enough money. You don't have enough. You don't have enough. You know, this is what they do. It's Freddy Krueger. You know what I mean? So always putting that you know, that negativity. So I see a bank on my way home. Like, I'm just going to go to the ATM and, you know, see what my balance is. So I jump out of the car, and I'm in a hurry. It was late. I had to get home to my mother. So I go into the ATM, and apparently I was in such a hurry, I left my card in the machine. Didn't even realize it. I never did that before. I didn't know what happened. And of course, the door locks behind you when you leave, because it's, you know, it's at night, and you need your card to open the door. I didn't even realize that I left my card. All of a sudden, I open my card on my alarm. I don't have my alarm on. I never use my alarm on my car. The alarm goes off. I can't. It's freaking late at night. My alarm is going. I can't control it. I'm trying everything. I got the hood up. I'm sitting on the ground. I call AAA. The guy comes. He can't turn the film. Like, well, the battery's gonna die eventually, you know. And he starts praying with me, and the both of us start praying. And the alarm, and he fixes. He did something, and turns off the alarm. I'm going home. I'm driving home. I'm about I would say 3 miles from home. And I'm driving, and it's a straight line, and all of a sudden my car starts bucking. Buck. You know, like I put my foot on the gas and it slows down, and then when I ease up, it accelerates. And it happened all the way home. When I get home, I can't get into the house. The door was double locked. I didn't have the outside key. I told my mother, you never lock the screen door. Never lock the screen door, because I don't have a key. And she knew better than to do it. And here I am thinking, oh my God, she's deaf. She's never going to hear me. She doesn't hear me banging on the door. She doesn't hear me yelling. It's late at night. I can't make too much noise, blah, blah, blah. And I just looked through the blind, all right, because I'm thinking I'm going to be sleeping in the car until she realizes that I'm not home yet. And I look through the blind, and I just see a foot and a leg twisted. She was on the floor. Since I left, she fell. She fractured her pelvis, and they were stopping me from going home. How? What kind of low-life, parasite pieces of shit does something like that with an old lady laying on the floor for hours and hours and hours?
They push her. They cause the fall.
Ann, you've called me up sometimes, and your mom has just about driven you up a wall and down the other side.
Yep.
Microphone test, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. This is Till. Finally got it fixed, huh? Oh, please go ahead, and I'm just listening for now until I have something to say. Thank you.
But the thing is, like, but still, would you hurt? Would you hurt? I know what. I mean, it's like beyond me. I was thinking. I don't know what made me think of this today. Today I was thinking about what they. Oh, I was thinking something triggered it off. But there's also a light that always turns red. In 10 years, this light has always, like, what's the point? What? As soon as my car approaches the street, Franklin Street, by the way, as soon as they approach Franklin Street, the car, and I'm always the first car at the red light, always. Every time. If I do it 10 times a day, 10 times a day, that light will turn red. Why? They have brought down railroad crossings without trains going. Railroad crossings, you know, the bars that go down, ding, 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 the lights, everything. No train. No train. What's the point? It's the D's. Delay, destroy. What it is. The D's. Destruction.
Where was that base, Ann, that you went to? Was that Puerto Rico?
Yes, Puerto Rico, Ramey Air Force Base.
So
always look at the closed bases. They're closed, but they're not really closed. They're doing shit in these bases. I didn't know it was a closed base. I thought it was a full working, active. I had no idea. I wasn't familiar with this stuff. But when I looked it up, and believe me, I didn't look it up for a long time. When I looked it up and I said, what? This base was closed in 1976? No, it wasn't.
Till, you have a drummer playing. Okay. Till has a drummer playing in the background. I don't know what it is, but it's almost, it sounds like a little drummer boy.
They're toying with my microphone. Yeah, it's the perpetrators.
All right, why don't you mute yourself
So go ahead.
till you can figure it out. Listen to that.
Already figured it out.
It sounds just like a little drum. So someone in another location's got a microphone and they're just sitting there, playing the drum on it with their fingers. Great. Oh.
So, Frank, did anyone tell you they missed your call yesterday?
No.
Okay, I will. Missed your call.
Yeah, it'll probably get added again anyway. That's why up on the website I just put it. I just zeroed all the times. I didn't cancel it.
Oh.
On the newsletter I did though. But it's just that it's a lot of hours,
Yeah.
And people weren't. If people were coming, that'd be one thing. But there's like 4 or 5 loyal people there that you feel really bad that that you're not having the call. But like I think Paula called me up one time and said, "Can you have the Sunday call?" I said, "Yeah, we'll see if we can round up some people." But it's if we're just going to have a chat with 4 or 5 people and I know about it, well, that's not too bad for an hour or so. But anyway, this call runs until 12 a.m. And I figure we'd give it till 12:30 to see if we get some California people that think it's 9 o'clock. I swear to God, it's not fair to East Coast moderators, because they can start a call out there and they're 3 hours behind us, and they always go by 9 p.m. Eastern. So they're through at 9. So anyway, Ashley, have you got anything you've been researching lately you'd like to bring up?
Yeah, document. I may have too much noise.
No, you're fine.
Just, that Army document was one thing, but also this is something you guys are probably familiar with, being from Massachusetts, but I just, through an interesting place, I happened upon Mark, is it Rich?
Mark Rich, yeah.
He's from Massachusetts, and he wrote a couple of books.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, and his site, matter of fact, Frank, you were talking about the weaponry. His site, well, it's actually not a site. I'll find a link and put it in the chat. It's a link to one of his books.
Okay.
And it gives, not all of the weaponry, but some very good accounts of things that are being used, and he also cites, references that we're familiar with, the DPS or I really enjoyed it. I read through it pretty quick because I'm still kind of hung up on that Army document, but I found all of his stuff to be pretty informative. Is anybody in touch with him?
Not sure about that. He's kind of under the radar right now. Has been for a while.
Okay.
At one point,
talk to it, but
yeah, at one point we were wondering whether he was okay or not. Yeah, he lives in town.
Wow. You guys are fortunate to be around, other TIs.
Yeah. I guess in California, they're really fortunate. They've got, 401 cities, 600 in another city.
Yeah, I agree. California seems to be the biggest spot.
Then it'd actually be a good place to hunt for signals, probably. Either that or a bad place. Yeah, we need one TI, like Dave in Maine. He's all by himself. So that'd be a really good person to read, with a meter. No, I don't know whether he was going to do that or not with Melinda Kidder, but I don't think he ever did. Has anybody here gotten any kind of, I don't know, time with Melinda Kidder? I didn't think so. Way too much money. $1,600. This little drummer boy again.
Frank, what would it take to learn to do that?
It's actually very easy. How much does
the equipment cost then?
Not that much. Not that much at all. You need a meter.
It must cost a lot. I mean, because that is expensive, right?
Well, you need a meter with a dongle, which is actually a wand, so that you can actually probe the person's body, like arms, legs, neck, back, and see what you get for readings. But the first thing you want to do is get a baseline reading of the room to make sure, there's nothing in there, or identify everything in there that could sway a reading. Like Peter from Rhode Island was having somebody read him. I can't remember who. And they were reading, actually not him, but they were reading a smoke detector. So, Peter finally gave up and said, this is BS, and I guess he left. But Dr. Staninger's work, I wish she would make more public. Of course, she wouldn't make any money if she did that. But her work, if she would identify all the things that she's looking for and identify the procedure, maybe the medical profession would catch on to it and learn about it from her. You know what I'm saying? She's keeping it to herself so that she can make money, big money. And the work she's doing can be done by any doctor because, they're identifying heavy metals for one thing. I saw one of the reports, and the report found tritium and lead. So, those are two things that... Okay, I got a couple links in the chat here. Money, money, money. Yep, you're right, Ash. Okay, there's a nice document here. I think I have the same document. I think I have the 2017 one. It's the 2018 Directed Energy Educational Outreach. And it says the United States leads the world in directed energy technology. High energy lasers, bleh, talk much. Optical technology, support systems, high power microwaves, and non-lethal. Okay, and there's a link to the society on our website. Yeah, this is brand new. I haven't seen this yet. Thanks, Ashley.
That one wasn't for me. That Southeast Texas put that in there.
Oh, okay. Sorry, wrong
That's a good one, though.
But if you want to go to targetedmassachusetts.org, on the home page, down a little bit on the left, you'll see this DEPS, DEPS emblem. You'll see it there, the logo, and just click on that. It'll take you there. Wow, this is 78 pages long. Thank you so much. A lot of activity in the eastern states, and not too much in California, actually. So they're in 37 out of 50 states. Thanks again, Ash. I'm going to download that. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, anytime, like Laura and who else wanted some help with shoring up their computer? I thought I was mute.
Actually, I think there's a couple of us, Frank. If you want to give me a time, I could get
Sure.
two other girls together, and we could, have like an hour, maybe. I don't know how long.
Not a problem.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I have more time than most have money, so whenever is for me. It's good. I'll get with them and see.
Okay, well, email me
Pretty
when
much
you.
anytime. Yeah, just pretty much anytime you say, I'll be there.
Okay,
I'll be ready. Okay,
sounds great.
cool. Squeeze me in.
All right.
And Frank, you're doing some great work. I
Oh,
applaud you.
thank you so much. I think I am going to get some, catch a few Z's. How's that? And
Cool. Real
and
quick,
Thanks
go
for the
over
call, Frank.
go
Me
over the
too.
time.
yeah, thank you all so much. I love you all, and we'll see you
Right,
Wednesday
Frank.
night. God bless.
God bless. Good night, Frank.
Night.